Warning, your intuition is actually a trauma response. The breakup text was already sent when her chest locked up. A 5-word message, then silence. Her stomach flipped, vision narrowed, and a voice in her head said, "That tone means betrayal." She deleted his contact, blocked the thread, and sat shaking on the apartment floor. At a retreat last month, they'd called that a soul hit. Tonight it felt like survival dressed as wisdom. To understand how we get here, we need to name the hidden wall most people never see. The overlap between spiritual intuition and trauma-induced hypervigilance. Both live in the body. Both feel certain. One protects you. The other slowly steals your life. The stakes aren't theoretical. Love gets cut off by false signals. Career moves get sabotaged by ominous vibes that collapse under daylight. Health choices swing between neglect and over-testing because a twinge gets read as prophecy. People earn status as the intuitive one, while quietly burning their nervous systems to the ground. Our lens is trauma-forward and clinically grounded, with room for the esoteric. Because lived experience doesn't split cleanly. We'll map the amygdala's rapid threat appraisals, the insula's interoceptive reads, and the anterior cingulate's salient switching. We'll track how the predictive brain, using Bayesian priors, turns yesterday's danger into today's certainty, and why interoceptive prediction errors feel like divine instructions. Here's the roadmap. First, the moment everything changed for Maya. The text, the tone, and the cost. Then why hypervigilance feels like magic, and the cognitive traps that seduce smart people into partial truths. After that, the 4R extraction kit. Regulate, reality test, repattern, rebuild. You'll get decision rules you can use mid-spike in love, at work, and with health scares. We'll run field tests and keep a hit/miss ledger, so confidence tracks reality, not adrenaline. Our promise is simple. By the end, you'll know how to distinguish a soul hit from a survival spike in real time. You won't gaslight your alarms, and you won't glorify them either. You'll learn to pause for 60 to 90 seconds, let precision drop in your body, and then verify. You'll update your priors instead of repeating your past. One parked detail will matter later. The tone that detonated Maya's night wasn't about her partner's intent. It matched a cadence her nervous system learned in the 1990s kitchen, where arguments ended with doors slamming. That pattern sat quietly for decades, waiting for a tone that rhymed. The moment it heard it, the body did what it was trained to do. The meaning it chose was fast, global, and wrong. If this lands a little too close, stay with it. We're not taking your intuition away. We're giving it back to you, calibrated, humble, and testable. Now let's start where every spike starts, inside the body. The moment everything changed, case A, Maya. Maya didn't plan a breakup. She planned dinner. The phone chimed, a neutral ping she'd heard 1,000 times, and her chest snapped tight like a trap. The 5-word text wasn't harsh. It just had that clipped cadence her body read as danger. Before her thoughts could form, her thumbs were already enacting safety. Delete, block, escape. Then came the shaking, the aftershock that always arrives once the decision is irreversible. 3 days earlier at work, a Slack ping had done something similar. The notification tone lit up her ribs with a hot, electric line. She froze, then typed apologies for a mistake she hadn't made. Her manager later clarified it was a system alert, not a reprimand. Relief lasted 10 minutes. The lesson her body took wasn't false alarm. It was that tone means move now. Meanwhile, in the retreat circle last month, people praised this speed. They called it clarity, a clean read. When Maya told the group how often she just knows, heads nodded. A facilitator said, "Your intuition's strong. Trust it." The room gave her status for hypersensitivity, and status is sticky. It feels like truth, but status doesn't hold you at night. After the breakup text, the apartment felt too quiet. She scrolled through photos, trying to find proof she'd been right. A half smile here, a silent afternoon there. Every ambiguous moment got labeled withholding. She slept with the lamp on, heart skittering at each car door in the street below. Loneliness settled in like a low-grade fever. Here's the moment that matters. When she read his tone as betrayal, the certainty didn't start in thought. It rose from sensation, chest pressure, jaw bracing, tunnel vision, and then draped itself in meaning. The meaning came fast and global. He's like the others. That's the seduction. When your body moves first, the story that arrives feels like revelation. The cost started stacking. At work, she began preempting critique by over-delivering, then burning out. Friends noticed she stopped reaching out. In spiritual spaces, disillusionment crept in. If these warnings were wisdom, Why did they keep leading to smaller, tighter choices? Why did her world feel safer, but somehow less alive? One detail she didn't connect, yet sat in the background like a metronome. The cadence of that text, short, clipped, space, period, rhymed with a tone her nervous system learned in the 1990s kitchen, where arguments ended with doors slamming. Back then, a pause before a sentence meant escalation. A cool, efficient voice meant a storm was gathering. Her body learned to move at the first hint. It kept her safe. It also trained a prediction machine. What nobody in the retreat named is what we'll name now. When the body gets good at surviving, it also gets good at guessing. It guesses patterns, not prophecies. In the moment, those guesses feel like a download. From the inside, the difference is invisible. From the outside, the consequences are measurable. Relationships cut short, careers hemmed in, a life managed by alarms. Maya wasn't wrong that something was happening. Her body was signaling intensity. The mistake was mistaking intensity for accuracy. To understand how that happens, and why it feels like magic, we need to go inside the threat and salience loop that sits under every knowing she trusts. Nervous System 101. Why hypervigilance feels like magic. To understand Maya's certainty, we have to zoom into the body systems that create it. 3 players run the opening act. The amygdala handles rapid threat appraisal and learning. It's fast, rough, and it updates quickly when danger pays off. The Insula does interoception. It integrates signals from the heart, gut, breath, and muscles into a felt sense and helps assign precision to those sensations. The anterior cingulate cortex, ACC, monitors salience and conflict. It helps switch attention when something feels important and arbitrates model updates when new data arrives. Together, they prioritize what grabs you and what can wait. Here's the twist most of us never hear. The brain isn't a camera, it's a prediction machine. Using Bayesian inference, it takes your priors, everything you've learned about what matters and what hurts, and forecasts what current signals probably mean. That gut feeling is a best guess under uncertainty. When priors carry a lot of weight, the guess feels like certainty. Now put trauma into that loop. Trauma sensitizes the system. Thresholds drop. Pattern completion speeds up. The brain leans on danger-heavy priors because danger used to be a good bet. In Bayesian terms, the model overweights threat and misallocates precision to alarm signals. Precision here means how confident the brain is about a particular prediction. When precision is high and aimed at danger, the body feels urgency that borders on inevitability. Interoceptive prediction errors are the next piece. The brain fires a prediction, say, this tone means conflict, and then compares it to incoming signals. A mismatch is an error signal. In sensitized systems, the amygdala, Insula, ACC loop treats small mismatches as big problems, which you feel as pressure, heat, tightness, or that global move now. Acting quickly, blocking the number, apologizing preemptively, reduces the error fast. The relief teaches the system this move works. That's the reinforcement. The identity follows. I'm intuitive. I can feel it. It's not faking, it's learning. Here's why it feels like magic. The Insula doesn't speak in words. It speaks in qualities, sharp, dull, heavy, buzzing, and helps weight them. The amygdala doesn't argue, it tags. The ACC doesn't narrate. It flags and shifts focus. When they synchronize, you get a wave of coherent sensation and attention that lands as a knowing. The story arrives after the wave and claims authorship. That's why the meaning feels preloaded. Meanwhile, spiritual language often maps directly onto physiology. Sympathetic arousal, faster heart rate, narrowed vision, heat, can be framed as a surge of energy or a download. Dorsal vagal shutdown, heavy limbs, fog, collapse, can be framed as a void or deep stillness. None of this invalidates real intuition. It just says, adrenaline isn't prophecy, and dissociation isn't depth. Why does accuracy wobble? Because the predictive brain is constantly trading off speed and certainty. In familiar, low-threat contexts, slower evaluation improves signal-to-noise. In old danger contexts, the 1990s kitchen template, the system flips to speed and over-precision. The same tone in a different room gets a different weight. There's one more trap. The relief loop lowers prediction error, which feels good. But it doesn't update the dangerous prior. So the next similar cue triggers the same spike. Without deliberate recalibration, the system keeps protecting yesterday at the cost of today. If you've ever thought, I knew it, only to find holes later, you've met this loop. The fix isn't to distrust your body. It's to change where precision lands. First, lower the physiological gain so the model stops shouting. Then check the base rates and test small. Then rewire the prior so tomorrow's cue doesn't hijack you. That's the bridge into the 4 rupees. The seduction of partial accuracy, cognitive traps. Here's where smart people get trapped. Partial accuracy feels like total accuracy. You catch a real signal, tight jaw, clipped tone, microfreeze, and then your priors rush in with a meaning that fits the old map. The hit you remember is the bodily spike that arrived right before an action that brought relief. The miss, how the story didn't hold up 3 days later, quietly disappears. Confirmation bias makes this sticky. You store the "I knew it" moments in high definition and file the disconfirmations in low res. Communities can amplify this. When a circle celebrates speed and certainty, members develop a shared archive of hits and a collective amnesia for near misses. Meanwhile, base rate neglect does the quiet damage. You forget how often a texting gap is just a busy day, how often a manager's short sentence is just efficiency, and how rare the worst case is relative to the mundane. Hyperempathy adds another layer. You truly can sense arousal, shallow breaths, shifting posture, eye flits. But then projection tags it with meanings from your timeline. Their nervous system becomes a screen for your 199's house. You're not faking it, you're overfitting it. The model is sharp, but trained on the wrong dataset. Ambiguity and tolerance pours fuel on it. The brain hates not knowing. In threat-biased modes, it resolves the unknown toward danger. That's a heuristic. It kept you safe. But it also drives pareidolia for motives. You start seeing patterns of betrayal in random noise, significance in punctuation, omens in scheduling conflicts. Each quick interpretation lowers prediction error right now, which feels like sanity. The cost shows up later as a smaller life. Authority reinforcement can lock it in. A leader says, "Yes, that's your gift," and discourages adversarial testing because doubt threatens the brand. Social rewards accumulate: status, belonging, identity. Over-precision blooms. You go from "I think" to "I know," and the calibration dial quietly breaks. Here's the twist nobody tells you. False positives have invisible costs. You rarely get clear feedback that says, "You overcalled danger." Instead, your world just narrows. You invest in safety theater, preemptive apologies, avoidance rituals, control plans. Relationships become brittle because repair requires uncertainty tolerance, and your system treats uncertainty like a cliff edge. Opportunity costs don't ping notifications, they just vanish. Let's ground this with a micro-story. A designer hears 2 clipped sentences in a review and spends the night building a backup portfolio, certain a firing is imminent. The next day, the manager clarifies 2 specs and praises the concept. The designer feels relief, but files the episode as proof of intuition because the relief arrived after action. The ledger of misses never gets written. What nobody knew at the time, because nobody tracked it, is that the base rate of actual firings after 2 clipped sentences at that company was near 0. This is why a ledger matters. Without one, the brain optimizes for relief, not accuracy. With one, you start to see where you overcall and where you undercall. You learn which arenas are noisy and which are clear. The plan isn't to mute sensitivity. It's to aim it. Keep the signal. Drop the story until it earns its way in. That's what the next section builds. Criteria to separate signal from noise, and a protocol that turns "I feel it" into "I verified it." The 4 are extraction kit, overview, and decision rules. Everything we've covered points to a single move. Don't let urgency pick the meaning. The 4 are extraction kit gives you a way to split a soul hit from a survival spike when your body is loud and time feels thin. It's iterative, not linear. You'll loop through pieces fast in the moment and go deeper later. The aim is simple. Drop physiological precision first, then verify, then update, then rebuild a compass you can trust. A 1 is regulate. If your heart's sprinting, breath is shallow, jaw is locked, or vision's tunneling, you're in the red zone. Decision rule 1. Never act from red physiology. Give yourself 60 to 90 seconds to lower sympathetic drive, so the model stops shouting. Think 1 long exhale, orienting your eyes to the room, softening your focus. You're not ignoring the signal, you're reducing error inflation. When the body's less certain, your mind can actually check. Our 2 is reality test. Once precision drops, you generate disconfirmations. What else could this be? At least 3 alternatives. Force base rate logic. How often does this cue equal the worst case versus something mundane? Add a time travel filter. Is this now, or is it the 199's house? Name the echo. Then run a low-stakes A/B probe to collect live data. 1 clarifying text, 1 specific question, 1 observable check. Pre-register what you expect, so you can't rewrite the outcome later. Source audit the signal. Did it arise as a fast, global body wave, an image, or a quiet inner sentence after calm? Fast and global usually means alarm. Quiet after regulation earns more weight. R3 is repattern. If your check shows mismatch with the scary story, you create a new pairing. That's memory reconsolidation. Evoke the old cue, just enough to feel it. Introduce a safety contradiction that the old map can't explain. Then let the system restabilize with the new link. Practically, that looks like staying with the tone that triggers you while receiving repair, kindness, or neutral data in real time. You also adjust language, drop oracle claims, and move to probabilities. It's 60% stress, 30% my prior, 10% real issue. I'll test. Then a micro-commitment. Take a 2% braver step that aligns with the updated read to reweight your priors towards safety. R4 is rebuild. Calibration happens over weeks. You map domains where your signals run clean and where they run noisy. Love, work, health, spiritual practice. You set confidence bands based on ledger data, not vibes. You privilege slow intuition, time, sleep, sunlight, distance, particularly when stakes are high. You build feedback loops with mentors and peers who'll give you consented mirrors. Ethics matter. No reading people without consent, no certainty theatre. If you overreach, repair. Here are the decision rules in plain language. If red zone physiology is present or the context is high ambiguity, delay or minimize action. By time. No irreversible moves from red physiology. If base rates and live data disconfirm the scary story, downgrade confidence immediately and document the update. If stakes are high, seek external verification before you act, consented mirror, objective metric, or time delay. If the signal grows quieter after a 1 and gets clearer after sleep, upgrade confidence modestly. If it grows with adrenaline or audience, downgrade. Always log the prediction and the outcome in a simple hit/miss ledger by domain. Update priors monthly and adjust confidence bands accordingly. This isn't about silencing intuition. It's about earning it. When urgency stops writing your script, guidance can finally speak. R1, regulate, body downshift protocol. Start here, always here, the body. If your heart's pounding, breath is high in your chest, shoulders are climbing toward your ears, and your vision feels like a tunnel, you're in the red zone. Red physiology writes loud stories. Green physiology lets you check them. The job is not to ignore the signal. It's to drop the gain so precision isn't overallocated to alarm. Label what's happening out loud, fast and plain. Heart fast, jaw tight, vision narrow, stomach hot. When you name the signals, the insula stops guessing and starts tracking. That reduces error precision by a notch. You've already moved the needle. Now give yourself 60 to 90 seconds. Extend your exhales to a 1:2 ratio. 4 in, 8 out. Whatever your numbers, keep the out-breath twice as long. The longer exhale nudges the vagal brake, easing sympathetic drive. While you breathe, orient. Slowly move your eyes, then your head and neck, taking in corners, ceiling lines, light sources. Let your gaze go soft and panoramic, like you're looking at the entire wall instead of a word on it. Tunnel breaks. Space returns. Add simple vagal-friendly cues if it's safe for you. Lengthen exhale, gentle humming, or a slow head turn while soft gazing. Avoid direct pressure on the neck or carotid area. The point isn't tricks, it's cues of safety layered, not forced. Titration beats flooding. Don't bulldoze the spike. Touch the cue for 2 seconds. Think of the tone, glance at the text, then pendulate back to an anchor you can feel. That anchor should be sensory and specific. Stack 3 sensations. Pressure where you sit, temperature on your cheeks, texture under your fingertips. Cycle cue to anchor, 2 or 3 rounds. Each loop teaches your system. We can touch the heat and come back. Co-regulation amplifies this. If you've got a safe other, let their voice do some of the work. Prosody, warm, varied tone, tells your nervous system you're not in the 199's kitchen. Match breathing for a dozen cycles. If consent and context allow, a steady hand to the upper back or forearm can help. Touch without demand is its own anchor. Track intensity with numbers, not vibes. Before you start, rate the dominant sensation 0 to 10. After 60 seconds, rate again. You're looking for drops of 1 to 3 points, not perfection. That change is prediction error shrinking. When the body's less certain, the story loosens its grip. Here's Maya, 30 minutes after the text. She's on the floor, knees up, hands warm over her ribs. She names, chest tight, jaw clenched, breath short. She extends her exhale, scans the room, lamp, plant, doorframe, and feels the chair's pressure under her. Spine, 2 loops of Q to anchor. Her 8 drops to a 5. That's enough to buy a question later. 2 cautions. First, never weaponize regulation to avoid information. We're lowering noise so data can get in, not numbing out. Second, if dissociation shows up, fog far away, heavy limbs, aim for gentle activation instead. Sit upright, engage legs, splash cool water, hum. We're after green, not grey. When you can reliably downshift in 90 seconds, you've built the doorway to discernment. R2, reality R2 walks through it, cognitive/behavioral checks. Regulation bought you a doorway. Reality testing walks you through it with a pencil and a clipboard. Start with a simple rule. The first meaning is a hypothesis, not a verdict. Say it plainly. Hypothesis A, this means betrayal. Then force 3 disconfirmations. B, work ran long. C, he's anxious and gets terse. D, my system hears clipped as conflict. Make yourself write them or say them out loud. Language slows certainty. Now bring in base rates. What's the actual frequency of worst-case outcomes for this Q in this domain? Not vibes, numbers. If texting gaps have led to breakups twice in 50 instances for you, that's 4%. If clipped tones at work have meant termination 0 times in 3 years, that's 0%. Your brain hates these numbers because they don't feel like anything. That's why we use them. Run the time travel filter. Ask, is this now or the 1990s kitchen? Tag the echo. Clipped voice equals storm coming. When you name the origin, you reassign precision back to the past where it belongs. You're not erasing history. You're telling your model, this isn't that room. Next, pre-register your expectations before you collect data. This matters. Right. If I ask for clarity and they respond with specifics and warmth, I'll downgrade betrayal to 20%. If they deflect or stonewall repeatedly, I'll upgrade. Pre-registration protects you from rewriting the story after the fact. Then do an AIB probe, one low-stakes behavior that gets you live data. In love, send a neutral, specific ask. Hey, that last text read a bit terse on my end. Are we good for Friday? At work, ask, could you name the 2 changes you want by end of day? In health, log the symptom, do a gentle movement test, and note if intensity shifts. The goal isn't to win, it's to observe. Source audit the signal itself. Where did it arise? Body region, image, inner voice. Note onset speed and spread. Fast and global. Heat in chest, jaw, tunnel. Usually maps to alarm. Quiet, specific sensing that appears after regulation, or insight that arrives after sleep, earns more weight. You're not shaming the fast signals, you're labeling them accurately. Now the ledger. Make it boring on purpose. 3 columns, prediction, action, outcome. Add a domain tag, love, work, health, and a confidence score. Once a month review. Where are you overcalling? Where are you undercalling? Update your priors. If clipped tone equals danger, shows a 10% hit rate across 30 entries, you don't erase it, you downgrade its precision. Microstory. Maya texts the neutral ask. She writes her pre-reg. If he replies with a concrete plan and warmth, lower to 20%. 10 minutes later. Hey, sorry, sprinting between meetings. Friday's still on. Appreciate you checking. Her body doesn't throw confetti. It just drops another point. She logs it. 2 weeks and 5 entries later, betrayal predictions fall from 80% to 35%. That shift isn't enlightenment. It's calibration. 2 guardrails. First, don't harvest reassurance until you've done one. If you ask while in red, you'll misread any answer. Second, don't outsource your read entirely. External data informs. It doesn't replace your compass. The payoff is subtle and huge. Reality starts getting a vote again. Not more drama, more data. And slowly, the system learns that certainty can wait while truth arrives. R3, Repattern, nervous system plus meaning update. Regulation gave you space. Reality testing gave you data. Repatterning changes the wiring that kept dragging yesterday into today. The mechanism is memory reconsolidation. When a memory gets reactivated, there's a brief window where its links can update if the brain encounters a mismatch it can't explain away. You evoke the old cue just enough to light the network, introduce a contradictory safety experience. and then let the system rest while the new association stabilizes. Here's how that looks in real life. You bring up the trigger deliberately, but inside a green zone body. Touch the tone, the pause, the clipped sentence, small dose. Then pair it with a live experience that collides with the old prediction. The 1990s kitchen said, clipped voice equals storm. The mismatch might be clipped voice plus warmth, repair, and specifics equals safety. The brain can't hold both maps. If the safety is credible, repeated, and context matched, the prior loses precision. Maya ran this in micro. After R1 and R2, she asked for clarity. He responded with specifics and care. She didn't sprint past it. She replayed the message while breathing slow, tracking the words that contradicted betrayal. She let the warmth land while the cue was active. That's the mismatch. Then she stopped. No overprocessing. 10 minutes of rest. Sleep later sealed it. The next day, she touched the cue again and asked her body, what's different by 1%? It wasn't fireworks. It was a slightly wider chest, a jaw that released half a notch. Counter-conditioning stacks on top. You re-enter danger contexts at graded levels, timed right after regulation, to cement new priors. If silence at dinner is loaded, you try 3 minutes of shared quiet with a hand on the table. Then name what you notice. If Slack pings you, you open one notification after an extended exhale, not 5 in a panic. Safety plus exposure in small, repeatable steps teaches your system it can stay and discern. Language matters more than people think. Drop the oracle frame. Replace, I know, with right now. It's 30% likely this is my old map, 60% stress, 10% real issue. I'm testing. Probabilities keep the prefrontal online and prevent over-precision from hijacking. Also separate sensation from meaning. Chest tight is data. Betrayal is a story about the data. Micro-commitments pull the update into behavior. Take a 2% braver action that aligns with the new learning. Send one clear bid instead of a protest. Ask one specific question at work instead of building a secret backup plan. Walk for 5 minutes after a twinge instead of Googling symptoms for an hour. Each small approach reweights priors towards safety and competence. Close the loop with ritual. Not spectacle, signal. A brief gratitude for the body that tried to protect you. A release breath. A hand to the heart, or a simple chant to mark the shift. Ritual tells your nervous system the scene has ended and the file can save. One more guardrail. Reconsolidation needs authenticity. Don't force a mismatch you don't feel. If the other person is actually dismissive, you won't update. You'll gaslight yourself. The protocol isn't positivity. It's precision. When you find real contradictions to the scary map, pair them on purpose, rest, and repeat. Over weeks, the alarms get smaller, the meanings get cleaner, and guidance has room to speak.